All right, hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. What is the sadder death from Highlander? The death of Kate MacLeod from the first Highlander movie, or Richie from the Highlander series?
Let's go with a Richie.
Yeah, that's. What do you think, Steven? Steven made it.
I hated Richie with a fiery passion for so long. And then they finally made him a decent character, and they dropped him to guest star status, where he's in one episode a season.
Yep.
And then they kill him off anyway.
And then they kill him off. And it was so sad, too. It was such a tragic death. It was so
way to
rough.
kill him. And he finally become like 5 seasons to make him a good character.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty. It's pretty rough. What was Duncan's wife's name? Was it Teresa? Is it Teresa? What was it again?
Yeah, it was something like that.
I think it was something like that. Tessa. Maybe that was Tessa. Yeah, that was pretty rough as well. Anyhow,
that was pretty early though.
It was. Yeah. Richie was pretty tragic. Richie was pretty tragic. But anyhow, we were talking about Highlander. Steven and I, fans, everybody else thought we were talking about the Toyota SUV. So I think it was, is it Toyota or was it Nissan? One of the two.
No, Ashley didn't think that because she doesn't know anything about cars either. So
did you ever figure out? You ever figure out? We have a friend, Keith, who has a Highlander crush. Is it?
I haven't gotten a response yet.
Okay. I like, now that I'm older, Adrian Paul with the ponytail and stuff like that. Yeah, it makes sense. I understand.
He's got that square face with the jawline.
It is, yeah. Yep. Anyhow, man with a very thick Spanish accent being Scottish, just as bad as heavy Scottish accented Sean Connery being a Russian sub captain.
So great.
It's so good. Anyhow, big fan of Highlander. Anyhow, so how are we feeling? Everyone feeling pretty good? We split into two groups still.
So worried. We are so worried.
I've been stressed since last episode. Like after our session ended, like before I took Elvis on his walk, I like regurgitated paragraphs of notes at them and didn't get a reply. And I'm like, all right, cool.
I was just sassing you guys about not responding to my idea.
Yeah, fuck me, right, Steven? Yeah, bitch.
I forgot about that. It was a week ago.
Guys, Ashley's awake now. Look out.
Yeah, you got rid of my Benadryl.
Just had to get her mad. That's all we had to do. She's awake now. So Melissa, Steven, and Ashley have a side Discord chat that the rest of us aren't allowed to see, where they've been discussing strategy. Do you have?
I don't know how much strategy. Honestly, it's been a lot of feelings.
Do you feel pretty confident with where you're
no.
going to go with this?
No.
I want him dead still, but you know.
Oh goodness gracious! So we are still separated, and we are still going to play where Steven and Melissa and Ashley. I want you to take your headsets off. Or take your, don't listen when we move over to Maestro or to Long. I want you to kind of just do your best. I understand you guys are great players. I know you wouldn't metagame, but it's just I think that the drama of it is actually pretty interesting. And we've come this far. We might as well continue. And that'll be that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
I kind of appreciate the stress it gets.
Yeah.
You know.
I feel like we did this a little bit when we were in person way back in the day, where I have a couple people get up and go to the room and went in the other room. Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah,
we did do that a few times. So
it's very
don't pull us out all the time. Yeah,
it's very low parallel process to like our players don't know where our friends are, and we also now don't know what's going on, and so we're just making.
I think we should write him off as dead. I really. Like we saw what was down there. We saw some bad happen to Shiloh.
I really think that is a very reasonable thing to do, and honestly, is what I expected Will to lead with. Yeah, like, listen, they're already dead, so.
But would Marie and Bev write us off as dead, having seen what happened in Mexico?
They didn't see what happened in Mexico.
Well, they know what happened.
Yeah, they didn't see anything in Mexico.
Yeah, and I saw
cowards.
Pastor Blade.
Did you?
that's what Bev believes.
Did you even? Oh my god, what's happened to my camera here? Did you? Have you told them about your little encounter with old Paddlewood?
I think it was included when we did the hand wave where we narrated everything.
Oh no, we can't. We can't hand wave that. We can't.
I think we need to get into that.
It was also just a car ride where you said, "Hey, we kidnapped someone, and now we're going to a warehouse."
I have a lot to tell you. We kidnapped a dude. I saw a ghost of a guy that got eaten by a giant mouse.
I feel like you told Kearns.
Yeah, I do recall.
Kearns is NBC, so I'm more interested in how the players will.
I thought there was a conversation about like. And Pastor Wood came to me and told us we need to get our shit together. And like, I feel like that.
Well, I'll tell you this: Frank never liked Pastor Wood, so he was actually quite happy. Of all the people that
GM bleed right there.
What? Pastor Wood was great. Pastor Wood was fantastic.
We don't have that in our games.
If I take out Pastor Wood now, I'll never have to deal with the woods that show up in the Hunter. In our Hunter campaign, right? And that works like a Back to the Future thing.
You got to take out the whole family.
He's correct.
If you go look at YouTube right now, go look at the playlist. Those episodes are gone. There's no Pastor Wood. Gone.
He disappeared.
Just like that. Yep.
I do love the theme in our Saturday games where I have a character that dies and then the rest of the party has to be sad about it. And then I get a new character that comes in and is just happy because he doesn't have to deal with the baggage of the lost friend.
Yep.
You'd be like, damn, you guys are real Debbie Downers right now.
What's the problem? We're doing fine. We got tons of energy.
Oh, goodness. All right. We're ready to go. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and read. I'm going to read the summary I dropped for them in Discord. Long and Mitra got a different summary, but I'm going to give you all this summary, and then we'll catch up a bit. So we're going to start.
Are you saying there's a group chat that I'm not a part of?
No, I sent them private DMs.
Okay.
A piece.
Don't
presume they're together
anywhere in the universe.
Don't presume they're together. Okay, so Bev and Frank Kearns, as we already mentioned, along with your translator and driver, T, is his name, 20-something-year-old man, staked out Daniel Laman's house. So you went back to Daniel Laman's townhouse, you staked it out, and then you eventually saw him leaving his townhouse in the morning. You followed him for a bit, first in your car, then on foot. He caught sight of people following him while crossing the street, started to flee. You chased after him, cornered him inside of some sort of shop or market, and you cracked his jaw with a punch. And then you being Bev and Frank dragged him into the car, which was really fun for T. And then elsewhere, Marie and Will, you were united at Hotel Oriental. You cleaned yourselves up. You went downstairs and you realized there were some local police that were talking to hotel management in the lobby. And you were able to move out a side door and avoid any possible, you're not even sure if they meant you any harm, but you avoided them just to be safe. There was also a magical note that seemed to change the meaning over and over again, left by Bev, that said to meet her by a cafe near Loman's townhouse. So the three of you did. You did actually end up meeting up. Frank Kearns was there, T was there, and you all took Daniel Loman to an abandoned warehouse near the Chapraya River. I think it's pronounced that way. And there you interrogated Loman and you tried to find the location of your missing friends. I think that's what you're asking questions about. I don't know. They didn't come up a lot. And then a better understanding essentially of the Bangkok operation. And then somewhere else, Shima did stuff and Patrick did stuff. And, we'll dive into that in a little bit, but we're going to start up first with Will, Marie, Bev. We are once more in this warehouse. I believe the last thing we did was shove Daniel Loman back inside of the trunk, close the trunk, and it's now you all here with Frank Kearns, and you had set T outside as like kind of at the keep watch / don't let him see all the really bad stuff. And so that's where we're at. So I'm going to turn it over to you all, and maybe Frank Kearns looks at you, is like, so what next? And what next?
Well, we could try to flip him. Clearly wants nectar. Tell him we got a crate of it in Mexico. Tell him we can keep him stocked up for as long as he wants if he gives us some information. Or we have him. They have two of ours. hopefully still alive. Possibly, maybe, probably not. But we could try a prisoner swap. Either way, I think I've got a couple more questions to ask him.
Agreed. He did give us a fair amount of information about the operation here. That will certainly be of help to us. Prisoner swap, I think, makes the most sense. We have him. He's leverage. We should use that, I believe, as much as we can. We have a couple of options that we could do as a prisoner swap. He mentioned that he can't just call Tawi and initiate the prisoner swap on the telephone. So we could go to the honey shop. We could certainly do that. He did confirm that Kokrak Island is where Savitri is at, and we could perhaps try to go to her for, again, kind of a prisoner swap, but
she seems to have some sort of control over Tawi.
She does. I didn't so much like the way he laughed when he talked about the island and the family and all of that, and we know absolutely nothing about the island and how to get there and who else is on the island and all of that.
I was also scared of her. She may not even care to get him back.
We just need to find out if they're alive, because we thought, Pastor Wood was dead, but I saw him when I was escaping, and I talked to Pastor Wood, and he told us that we're just being huge fuck ups.
Who?
Pastor Wood, he was with us in Mexico, in LA, and in all of these other places, and then when I was escaping, I had been walking, and it was raining, and I saw him, and he was under this ledge, and he spoke to me, and he told me this Bible verse, and we just really need to take this more seriously than we have. We've been sloppy. Like, we're talking about giving this guy back. This is a loose end, and who's to say once we let him go, he's not going to immediately turn around on us? That doesn't make sense. A pastor, he had it right. We really need to we need to get in line. This is life and death now. This isn't some just...
It is. It absolutely is. And and Marie's just sort of looking at you concerned.
We thought Pastor was dead, but he's not dead.
You can see Frank Kearns is behind her, and he's just kind of like looking away, like not looking at her, almost feeling guilty, just kind of just occupying himself with a corner of the warehouse.
Bev, I don't know Pastor Wood. I do know that this isn't a place where most pastors are. If he survived Mexico, why would he be here now? Why would he not be with us now?
Why would he give up on the mission? Here? Well, because when we were in LA, Patrick did separate from us as well. He did his own kind of reconnaissance, and so who's to say that Patrick or that pastor isn't doing the same thing? He's
LA
just doing it better.
Different than Bangkok.
I think
what, 40 hours to get here?
We can take his lesson. I think we can take the lesson that we need to make sure we're thinking through our next steps. But we know that Shima.
You guys don't need to look at me like I'm crazy. I know what I saw. Did you guys see Pastor die? No. I
can't argue with that. I certainly cannot argue with that. But we could tell him, Mr. Sawyer, that we have nectar and that he wants it. But we have no way of procuring any if he has to see any before giving us information. So I think his life may be the most valuable thing. And if we can get proof of life of Shima and Patrick and do a trade, it feels like the best bet. I'm not feeling great about just going back through the maze again, though, if we go to the honey shop.
Hell no. I'm not going back in there. Not anytime soon.
How would we go about that if we were to take him there?
Take him to the shop, show him to the guards, let him give a message, tell him that we have to meet in neutral ground, maybe a cafe or an open market or something like that, well away from the maze, because we know they control that area.
It doesn't even matter if we're in public. They beat me up in a restaurant and abducted me. Do we really think like a neutral location will really benefit us?
I think it's better than being on their turf.
The shortest amount of time that we spend in the honey shop may be better for our overall survival, perhaps. And if he won't, then we do what we need to. But
if Shima's dead, I'm gonna kill him.
We can cross that bridge when we get there. And she turns
Marie's towards the trunk and she says it louder. As I said before, if Shima's dead, I'm putting a fucking bullet between his eyes.
Well, we don't.
No response, by the way. Fairly quiet from the trunk.
Yeah.
He is gagged.
Yeah.
No, can't quite discern a response.
Jeff, I also have one question. I think I remember it correctly, but I want to double check. When we found nectar in Loman's house, I believe both Will and Patrick took some and put in their pockets, right?
You guys did take a couple vials.
That's true. I think you took the whole thing. I think you took all of it.
We took the whole thing, but I think both of us took like 2 vials for our pockets.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Okay.
But I think I did. So I'm saying that I would have a vial there to show off to Loman. Will would pull it out of his pocket and like say, we can offer him a taste.
I might want a luck test to see that it didn't break during your escape and during your death fight.
Yep.
A few things have happened since we were in that bedroom opening that box.
Yeah.
My luck is very high right now.
Oh, look at this.
But I rolled a 3.
Okay.
Wow.
So 3 under 33.
Wow.
For whatever reason, when you were changing earlier today at the Hotel Oriental, you kept it. Maybe you thought it might be important. Maybe you didn't know what it was. Like they keep talking about nectar, like you're not fully up to speed on what that means, but you kept it for whatever reason. So yeah, we'll say you have a you have a vial. Okay. All 3 of you, give me a listen test.
Oh God.
Yeah.
56 under 60.
Okay. Good deal.
Fail 42 over 20.
Yeah, you're kind of piping that.
68
that makes
over
sense.
20.
Marie, as you as you're sitting there talking, as Bev's kind of going off on a little bit of a rant about going to kill him if Shima's dead, you hear voices outside in the direction of where T, your translator and chauffeur, had gone.
And Marie will just sort of, kind of like lift up her hands, kind of lower them a bit and just kind of like, there's someone outside. And Marie would try to move herself, so I imagine if there's sort of a wall here, she'd try to move herself so she's kind of against the wall, seeing if she can kind of look around an opening or anything.
Okay. Sure. When you get over and you maybe peek around, maybe out like a grimy window or maybe just through a seam and some panels, you can see that your driver, T, outside near the water. Remember that your warehouse that you found was off the water and it was evening time. And so at this point, you've all been in here, you've interrogated Loman. It's nighttime now. Like you've been in here talking with each other, talking with him. So there's no more sunup, but you do see there's some lights here and there of various lanterns and things, some on the water, some not. And you can see that he is talking with appears to be 2, I guess local cops of some kind. They got some kind of uniform on, it looks like, at least. And he's talking and he's got like his hands are moving around and he's like being, he's kind of bowing his head a little bit and trying to, like, he's here and there, and he's got his back to you all, and he's talking to them. That's what you see.
Frank's not with him though.
Frank's inside with you guys.
Yeah.
And so Marie will kind of move away from the window and very quietly whispering, "Please." And she sort of looks, I guess she doesn't know like what happened with Will necessarily. But just perhaps we should stay hidden here and hope that he can talk his way out of this.
Can you trust him?
We
only just met him.
Yeah. Are you talking to Frank or are you talking to each other?
Bev and Frank about T. Can we trust him?
I mean, I paid him some extra, and he seemed to know Frank.
Yeah, he seemed like he's a good kid. I met him when he was studying in France once when I was doing a job for Miss Winston Rogers, and I know he's back here, and he's he's a good kid. I can go out there, but I couldn't understand a word they're saying.
We know Loman has ties to the police. There's a chance they're just patrolling here. Why don't we wait by the car? Frank, you know how to drive, right?
Yes, I know how to drive.
Just checking. I know it's a little different with the pedals and the plane and the joystick, you know.
No, I mean, I was literally driving the car that picked you up.
I thought T was driving. My bad.
No, that's fair. Yeah, he probably was. But it's still funny.
And there is a possibility, and Marie kind of looks to Bev, because Bev already had Daniel in the car by the time they found us. Were you spotted at all when, and she kind of, directs her thumb towards the trunk. Were you spotted at all when,
oh yeah, I knocked him out in a store. And then, Frank and I drug him into the trunk.
Okay, so you perhaps might want to, and Marie's going to look around this kind of warehouse area and see if perhaps Bev can kind of take cover somewhere. If they're looking for her, they wouldn't necessarily be looking for Will or I.
But
could I move up towards a window or something and look at the conversation and try to gauge how it's going? Is there aggression? Does it seem friendly?
Give me a psychology roll, but I'm going to want a hard success since you can't really hear and all that kind of such. It's just pure body language.
So I need a 30 on this. That's a 98.
Oh, no.
Well, under 60, right?
So
60 normal. So I don't think that's a crit fail yet. But
hard success 60 normal.
30.
You're okay.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Did you say 98?
98.
Yes.
I literally just rolled a 98 for T as he's talking to them, and you watch one of these cops just suddenly right into his stomach, and T lifts up and he falls down to the ground, and he's just putting his hand up, and they're one of the guys, the one that punched him, is leaning down and kind of shouting into his ear. The other one's just kind of standing up, kind of looking around.
I go out there and I say, "Hey, what's going on?"
And you see these two. They look up at you. One of them kind of quickly fumbles and pulls out a stick and just starts shouting at you in Thai, and raising up this sort of kind of like a nightstick kind of deal, holding it up in the air, threatening.
Hey, that's my driver. That's my friend. My friend.
Mister, it's okay. It's fine. They just give them money and they'll go. And that's T calling it's all they want. It's money. That's it.
That I don't mind. I pull out whatever cash I got and I just give them the wad. I don't think I got any cash from Loman, so I'm not flush the.
Okay, give me a credit rating. Just give a credit rating roll. See if you produce enough.
Okay, so credit rating 50.
They look at you. They take you in as somebody who has the money. If the money you're giving him matches what they perceive your wealth to be, just by looking at you.
Extreme success. I got an 8 under 50.
Hell
okay.
yes.
Nice.
So you hold out some local denominations. You just kind of put it out and hold your hand up, and one of them, the one that doesn't have the stick up, slowly comes over and grabs it, takes it, shoves it in their pocket, and they walk away. But as they're leaving, you see one of them just kind of kicks T. And T just kind of stumbles over and just puts his hand up, and the two of these cops walk away. And then T's like,
I go to help
T
up. I try to brush him off as best I can, trying to be gentle with him.
It's fine. It's fine. It wasn't about you. Don't worry. Oh.
I'm worried about you. You just took a hard hit there. You all right? Come on, come in. We'll get you seated down.
Okay. So you bring him inside, and you sit him down. All the while, you still have him in the. Have you made decisions? You're gonna pull old Daniel Laman out of the trunk? Yes, he's just like. Frank comes over, gives him like a swig from his flask. Poor kid.
Okay. They just wanted to shake him down for money. They moved on, so I think we're okay. Pull Loman out. Let's have another talk.
So you pop the trunk and you pull him out, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut from there so we can check in on our other players. Okay.
Oh, you want me to take the headphones out?
Yeah, you three can take the headphones off at this point.
What if I just pretend to?
I'm assuming that's what Melissa's been doing. She's a cheater. I'm assuming Ashley just puts her monitor speakers on. It's crazy. All right, she didn't make a face. Okay, maybe she isn't. Maybe she isn't. Okay, all right. You still there, Steven? Steven. Okay. All right. All right. So, Shima, Patrick, so you get a little extra. So with you all, we picked you up last time. You were trapped inside some pits, mud on the ground, stripped naked. You could see sky, but the sky was you couldn't access it because there's a grate over top of your pits. At a certain point, a woman came by and started prodding you with a sharpened stake. And then later in the evening, you smelled some burning, and you saw, I think it was Shima who climbed up and saw that same woman, now naked herself, throwing your belongings into this big bonfire. And she bore these two gnashing mouths like you've seen before in other places, on her thigh and on her forearm. And she was like chanting some kind of ritual. They were doing the same thing. And then a little while after that, not very long, in fact, sometime early and sometimes into the night, both of you, from the wounds where you were stabbed, you grew your own gnashing mouths. Patrick, yours is on the back of your left forearm. Shima, yours is on the palm of your left hand. And I think, Patrick, yours started to shift and move at one point too. I think there were a couple bouts of madness, which we could understand, that ensued. And that was interrupted a little bit. The same woman came over and tossed some keys down into your pits. Eventually, by the time you all scrambled, got them, you came up and climbed out, she was gone. The fire was dwindling. Shima, as part of your bout of madness, you ran off into the trees. You started thrashing around about panic, like ripping down these shrubs. Patrick, you discovered that there was another person that was actually in prison, a young Siamese woman who, when you helped her out of her pit, she had a leg mouth, like a mouth that had grown on one of her legs. And then we saw Shima, your bout of madness ended. And then you started to, right as you were coming back from this wooded area, because you were both on top of this rocky hillside. Right as Shima was coming back to the dwindling bonfire, Patrick, you spotted this shadow just in the sky. And as that shadow was coming closer, it eventually crashed down onto the rocks in front of you. And it was a body that just kind of erupted in gore, lifeless. Okay. I will say, however, that this happened at the very tail end of your bouts of madness, so I'm not going to require SAN tests from the two of you, since during a bout of madness you can't actually get any more. You can't suffer any more SAN loss. So we'll say that kind of happens all around that time. But Patrick, the woman who is next to you, who is already panicking right now because of the mouth on her leg, is now panicking even more as there is this torso that's been ripped and hacked and shredded to pieces of a man. You would imagine in his 40s, looks Caucasian. What do you two do? And she's just like, What do you do?
Direct her attention away from the body. Get her focused on me.
Okay. So as you go to sort of turn, do you physically do this or you just talk to her? I should ask you that.
Yeah, I would both do physical and talk to her.
Okay. As you try to move her physically, as you reach your arms out, you realize the mouth that has grown on your forearm is like sort of almost like tugging and you're like tugging your arm, trying to turn it around a little bit. You have full control, so it's not controlling your arm, but you do feel this like tug on your skin as you realize the mouth is almost trying to snatch her. But thankfully, your mouth is like on the outside of the arm, so it doesn't actually grab her. Shaima, you can feel your hand is like dripping and gnashing. It's like, and like you also feel this like tug, like a small dog tugging on a leash. It's not something that's going to bowl you over, but it's noticeable. And you can feel your hand just like as it's wanting to reach down to the flesh below. Patrick, give me I think it's psychotherapy, or is it psychology in this game?
Psychoanalysis, maybe.
Psychoanalysis, yes, to calm her down.
I have a 60 and I rolled a 38.
Okay, and you get her to calm down, and she turns away. And the two of you now are looking kind of away, like you're up on this rocky hillside, and the two of you now are looking away from the bonfire, away from the body. Patrick, that's when you notice it's still very dark, it's nighttime, but nonetheless, as your eyes adjust, as the stars come out, as the moon shines down, you see out in front of you, on the other side of the hillside, looking down a bit, is water. As far as you can see. And she's just
Shaima, new lady. Anybody know where we are? I don't remember getting here.
I don't know. And she's just like breathing really heavily, and like she's sticking her leg out and keeping it away from her. I fell into a pit, and they tried to kill me, and then they brought me here. And you can tell she's like hyperventilating at this point, but slowly getting her breath back.
Shaima is when Patrick asks the question, she doesn't verbally respond, but she just shakes her head, and the mouth is pulling towards the flesh on the ground.
The fleshy carcass, and it's not even in good condition anymore. It's like a torso, arms missing. So it's hideous.
So what's going to? Then Patrick and this woman see Shaima turn her head and say to it, like, and well, I worship you and I will give you what you need after. And she kind of trails off in her sentence, and she goes to the nearest tree, and she wants to break off 3 sticks that will either work as a club or spears for the 3 of them, because like I've been giving this a fair bit of thought, so thank you for talking to me about this, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
I think the focus on the occult and all of this other stuff, like and at this point she's kind of just this like wounded predator that's like backed into a corner.
Yeah.
And so her thing is, I need to cause some fucking hurt to this woman. So she doesn't care if it's a club or a spear, but she's just looking for 3 sticks.
You want 3, so you're trying to like get 3 rudimentary weapons. Give me 3 survival tests, 1 for each weapon. And the quality of your roll will determine the quality of the weapon.
That's a penalty, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it should be. It should only be like strength stuff.
Okay. Survival.
Double check it. Yeah, all non-combat. Yeah.
Okay. And I got a penalty die.
The high, by the way, is not indefinite. It will wear off.
Sure.
I have rolled for how long that's going to be for each of you. So it's just not yet.
Yeah, I just have a 10, so I'm probably going to fail. But
okay,
86 on the first one, which is a fail.
Okay.
24 on the second one, which just like that. And this third one is to see if there's something for me, and I'm probably gonna fail.
Okay.
67 fail.
Okay. So 3 fails. It doesn't mean you get nothing. It's just, again, it's just the quality of what you grab. And I should say, like, it's definitely a jungle canopy, but when you think of that, don't think of like South American rainforest, super high, tall trees. It's much more low canopy, tangled vines. It's actually kind of painful to walk across it in some cases, as some of those vines kind of slash out at you. I'm going to drag onto your sheets a improvised weapon of a particular quality, and this is what you have for now. You can obviously do what you want later. So 1 for Patrick, and then 1 for Shaima.
Thank you. And so after this is done, she will lean down and put her hand against the body.
Oh, okay. Well, then roll a sand if you're doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Meanwhile, Patrick, you look out, you see the ocean, you see the water, whatever it might be, and she's looking at it too, and she directly answers your question. She describes falling into a pit. She describes being attacked. It's like she's all in the midst of these like heaves here and there of breath, but ultimately, like, you kind of have these vague memories, Patrick, of somebody else falling and then you hacking them to pieces when you were inside the death fights. Her story sounds vaguely similar to that, except maybe she survived.
I failed my sand roll.
All right. You are going to take 3 points of sanity loss, Shaima, as you give in and feed this thing.
And that's my daily sand as well.
Okay. So daily sand means another bout of madness then. Okay. So let me pull that back up. Okay. Daily sanity. I'm trying to remember if daily sanity is the auto or do you need to do the int? I always forget.
It's temp insanity when you lose 5 and you roll the int.
Okay. So daily is just a straight up bout. Okay.
Yeah, I seem to have fucked something up on my sheet though.
Did you still roll the
it
int?
should be
under your primer it
9
says
out of 8, but it's 40 out of 8.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Long was saying something. You were
in your
talking
primer it
over each
says
other.
you make the int roll in the temper insanity.
Okay. Sure. So roll an int test, Shaima.
Okay.
You've lost 40. Oh, I see what you're saying. 40 over 8. Okay.
Yeah. I don't really know how that happened.
That's a lot of sand loss.
Yeah.
Okay, so succeeding is not good. Succeeding is what you is that bout of madness again. So you do suffer about for 2 hours. Yeah, so you're temporarily insane for the next 2 hours. So you basically lose all self-control. For a short time, the keeper controls the character and or dictates the actions that character takes. Shaima, I think you just disappear into the jungle. really at this point. It's like you feast you give the mouth food. In the process of doing so, like maybe it occurs to you, like it triggers that part of Shima that's still hidden back there somewhere, realizes what you're doing, like you're feeding this thing. And then Patrick, by the time you and this woman turn back around, you can see that carcass on the ground has been half gnawed and Shima is missing, but laying on the ground, you can see there's these 2 crude weapons. I put one on your character sheet. What do you do, Patrick?
A lady friend of mine. Let's run off into the forest. Gotta keep an eye on her. And I'll see if I can make a little torch from that bonfire that's burning.
Okay.
And trail around the island, see where we are, where Shima's going.
No roll for this. I think this is easy enough to do. You don't have to roll any survival, so you can grab yourself a torch. This is going to last somewhere in the neighborhood of, we'll say, 2 hours. So it's going to last you about like between like the bundles and the sticks that are left, you could probably make like a torch that'll last you for a little while. If you want to try to track Shima, though, that will be a track test. This track is a skill in this game. Look at us dusting off skills we like never use. Isn't it great? You guys are playing a completely different game than this. It's ridiculous.
I've got a 10 in it. Let's give it a roll. 48.
Me too.
Okay. All right. So you see it's hard to find tracks because it's a rocky hillside. And then you know that you go down the hill a bit into this shrubberied area, and the woman is following you the whole time, but she's kind of got her legs stuck out to the side, like she's doing this long limp, and you hear the sounds of and it's the mouth on her leg as she's following you, and you can tell that she's probably herself suffering some sort of mental break as well. And you go down and you can see this just destroyed area of vegetation that Shima has like ripped through, but you've lost sight of her. Up ahead, if you look out, you like in the distance away from the hillside, you can see that it's just like this low canopied jungle, these gnarled looking trees. Nothing is too high up. Lots of heavy brush that are like waist high, vines, tangles. You hold the torchlight up, and sometimes you can see it reflecting off of like eyes. You see as you hold it up, there's like some kind of viper wrapped around a branch in one of these trees whose eyes are now reflecting the torchlight. In other cases, you can see like a bug or an insect kind of flying around the darkness. As your eyes adjust, you sort of make out some sort of shape off to the north a ways. It doesn't look like trees. It's hard to see. There's not a ton of light, but that's the first sign of something other than jungle. But it still means trekking through jungle to get there. But no signs of Shima.
The sign of the new structure. I'll point towards that direction and make my way there.
Okay. So you start moving and coming through the jungle. You hear the woman behind you, like she's trekking after you, following you slowly. Wait. Not so fast. As she's moving quite slowly, but is nonetheless following. About 5 minutes into your trek, Patrick, you hear a voice. And the voice seems to come from all directions. And Shima, you hear this too, although in your current stage, you're just like in this like frenzied search amongst the brush all by yourself. You hear a woman's voice. It's in English. You hear it. It feels like it comes from everywhere and nowhere all at the same time. And it just says, "Now the time comes for my mouse to hunt you, and for yours to hunt mine. In victory, the maul upon you will feast on my flesh, rather than your own. In defeat, your flesh will nourish mine. To decline this fight is to be slowly consumed by the orifice that you manifest." And then there's like this pause for a second, and you hear the sounds of the woman behind you, like her breath stops, and then echoing, "The hunt begins." And you see all these like trees begin to shake, and erupting from them, there's these birds just fly up into the sky like they're fleeing something. What do you do, Patrick?
Now this is a sick type of joke. Let's scan around, wait for something to pop up.
Okay. Give me a spot hidden test. Or a survival. You can roll that as well.
I'll just spot hidden at a penalty.
Okay.
$84. No
84? Okay. That's a fail. Okay. So you're scanning around. You hold the torchlight up. Again, you see the signs of like flickering eyes of various jungle critters here and there, blinking back out at you before disappearing. You look back at the tree where the viper was, and they're gone now. You hear the sounds of something moving about, but you see no signs of where the voice came from. You see no signs of Shaima. The only thing you really see is this other woman behind you. And she, at this point, is like as terrified as you are. And she's like huddled almost below you. She's very short. And at this point, you're kind of on your own, leading this woman. And that rage from the nectar is still kind of clouding a little bit, probably, of your judgment to some degree. Do you continue forward towards that shape in the distance?
Yeah, just shout if you see something. And I'll just keep pushing forward.
Okay. You push forward. About 10 minutes later, you find yourself breaking through this wall of brambles. And you see that there is this open clearing. And as you're like moving through, suddenly the ground gives way. And you find yourself sliding down. Give me a dodge test.
Dodge was 30. Let me check if I get bonus
Get
for
a
this.
bonus because of the nectar?
Is it a combat sort of roll?
It's a combat. So, yeah, you can take it. That's
Okay.
fine. Yeah, I'll take it.
A 7.
Very nice.
Yes.
Okay. That means you're going to take very little damage, probably, but you will take some. You're going to take 1 point of damage. Is what happens, Patrick, as you're moving across this clearing. The ground suddenly gives way, and you fall. You see yourself sliding down this incline, and there are these sharpened stakes that have been embedded into the ground that are pointing up and out from the center as you have fallen into some kind of pit. And that pit, you can see, is like the sharpened wooden stakes are coming up, and you manage to contort your body and roll and just scrape yourself lightly as opposed to impaling yourself fully on one of these. Let me roll for the woman behind you to see if she does the same thing. Okay. She gets as well. Okay. So she also falls into the pit with you. And as she does so, like, you can see one of those stakes just jabs like right into the side of her body. She doesn't get fully impaled, but she takes more damage than you. And she starts screaming in pain from it. And you can tell that her screaming is extraordinarily loud. What do you do, Patrick?
I'm gonna need you to keep quiet. You might attract something.
It hurts. Help. And she like picks her arms up and she turns, and you can see like there's this huge gash and it's just dripping blood. You don't think there was anything on the stake, but you can tell she's like, and she's got scars everywhere, but this is the only fresh wound that she seems to have. And you can tell she has like stitches here and there from where she was cut or slashed, things like that. But she's still screaming. She quiets a little bit, but she's still making a lot of noise.
I'll help her and myself out of the pit as best we can.
Okay, give me a climb test. Okay.
37.
All right. You start climbing up. As you do, as you're trying to pull yourself up to the ledge, and the earth is, kind of falling beneath your each grab. Like the dirt crumbles here, dirt crumbles there. When you reach up to the ledge and you finally grab hold of something firm, you look up and you realize what you've grabbed hold of momentarily is the ankle of this woman with these two mouths on her. And she stands up atop at you and just looks down with this distant, emotionless face. And with her spear, she just whoosh right down at your face. All right, let me roll my attack. Are you trying to dodge? Or are you trying to fight back?
Fight back might be better.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do fight back.
All right. Go for it. Remember that you have to beat with a fight back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, that's
be
not
any
good.
better. 69.
Okay.
I mean,
I failed.
Okay. So as you try to pull with the leg, maybe to try to get her down, she just very smoothly lifts her legs up, steps off to the side, scrapes your hand off her foot, and then stabs down. And you're going to take some damage. You're going to take 7 points of damage as this spear right into your shoulder.
I'll use my tough guy talent by spending 10 luck. I'll negate 5 hit points. So
Okay, go ahead and negate it. Take the rest. And in that process, you just sort of fall back down. As you lose hold of what you were gripping, you get stabbed. And you hear the sounds of the woman you've been traveling with here for the last 15, 20 minutes or so. She comes over to rush and helps you up. And then when you look back up at the ledge, the woman with the spear is gone.
Where'd that lady go? You see her?
She ran off. She ran off. She ran off. And then she just points off in the darkness, above. That way. And she points in the direction that you were traveling.
I'll keep going that way then.
Okay. So after a few moments getting up, the new wound now bleeding. She's got a wound on her side bleeding. The two of you climb up. It takes a few moments, and you continue kind of limping forward into the darkness. Okay. We're going to go back to the others now. Okay. See if they notice. Hey, guys. How you been? What's up?
You were just waving like this a few minutes ago, and I'm like, is that my cue? I started fumbling.
I'll do the whole headphones on. I know that Ashley's going with actual headphones, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, that was fun. All right. So last we saw you guys were inside the warehouse. It's at night. You've brought tea inside. You bribed some of these local cops, and now you pull Daniel Laman back out of the trunk. And I turn it over to you. What happens next? He's just.
All right. I go and I pull down the gag. Okay.
Would you
We might have
please
gotten off. Yeah.
stop putting me in the trunk?
I'm sorry. It's for privacy reasons. There aren't many rooms. We got off on the wrong foot, and I apologize for that. I don't want to rely on intimidation for this relationship to work. We need to be able to trust each other, as we've talked about. So I think I should be upfront with you. I don't want to kill you. I don't want to have to inflict physical harm. That's not the kind of person I am. And if you can make it out of here unscathed, I would be happier for that. That said, and I pull off these leather gloves that I've been wearing since I got changed in the hotel, and I show these deep rope burns that I have on my palm. I have had to make some choices recently, and murder is among them. So if push comes to shove, I will push back. Again, not saying this to intimidate you. I just want us to know where we stand. But
So, you're not wanting to intimidate me?
no, I think that we could have a fruitful business partnership. And I reach into my pocket and I pull out the vial of nectar. You see, this
and he looks
stuff,
at it. Okay.
This is actually yours. I got this from your house. But the thing is, we have crates of this stuff. Our little group, we've been globetrotting. Granted, I'm a little bit new, but I've seen what's been confiscated in, L.A., Mexico. We've had crates and crates of it shipped to certain locations. We could keep you set for life if you wanted. It seems like there's multiple varieties and flavors, and the way things are going, I think we're going to be getting even more. I know we're planning on going to Malta soon. So you could be set without having to lift another finger after you help us get Patrick and Shima back.
So, you want me to help you retrieve your friends?
And then you can
And in
retire
return-
and live happily ever after.
And how is what you are promising me different from what I already have? Other than the fact that it doesn't require me to portray a very powerful person.
Well, the difference is you will no longer be under that powerful person's thumb. You'll have our protection. You may not trust us that much, but it's clear we can get some shit done. I mean, you're sitting in a trunk.
I might have very high opinion, well, of my skills. But as we've discussed, my skills aren't whatever this is. So I would maybe hesitate on elevating yourselves to highly capable individuals. As much as I would like to think of myself as a challenging adversary, as I said, there's someone more powerful that I think you should be considering here.
And you know what? That's the beauty of negotiation here. We got two options for you. You don't like option A? Perfectly fine. Like I said, we can still work something out.
Excellent.
All we want is Patrick and Shima back, and then you can go free and go back to the life you were living in exchange for them.
Negotiation. Yes. I have been thinking. I've had time with myself to reflect on choices. And
It's nice and quiet around here, isn't it?
Really, a time to really reflect. And I have a counteroffer. Let me free. I will contact the plane. I will contact the hangar to ensure that your plane is not grounded, is not guarded, and the three of you, well, the four, and then he looks and his eyes see a fifth, the five of you, can leave Bangkok without any more harm. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same about the others, as I have no idea what has happened to them.
That's going to be a problem, because you see our doctor here, she's very attached to one of the two that are being held by your people. And you might say that your life is tethered to their lives. And again, I don't say this to intimidate you. It's just, it's something that's non-negotiable at this point.
Okay, we're negotiating. One might suggest that your lives are tethered to mine. If something were to happen to me, it would not take those who are above me, savagery, to discover who was responsible for that. And while I might not be irreplaceable. I do render her a service that is essential.
So that service is knowing people?
It is ensuring that various parties don't interfere with the ritual fights so that she can be free to pursue her larger agenda.
In the spirit of negotiation, I think it would help if you understood a little bit more about my motives here. It seems that you're coming from the framework that I want to leave Bangkok and that I don't want to face Savitri, I'm sorry, face to face. And you see, that's kind of the exact opposite of why I'm here. We're going to take down the operation. And I'm not planning on leaving before that.
Well, you are very ambitious. Very ambitious. Others have tried. Well, as you said, this was negotiation. You made an offer. I made a counteroffer. Is there a middle ground, perhaps? And he's like looking at Marie. He's looking at Bev as well. Is it a middle ground?
What we have identified as being important to us did not appear to be part of your counteroffer. We are seeking to ascertain the current safety of our two companions and have them returned to us in whatever state they may be.
Where was the last time you saw your companions?
Will would kind of like grimace and look back at Marie on that.
We were in cells.
You were at the fights. You were in the cells. You were prepared to fight. Now, as I said, Tawi handles the specific organization of those fights. However, I can tell you with great certainty that no one survives those fights. If the last you saw of your friends was in these cells, I regret to inform you that they are dead.
I was in those cells at one point. I'm not dead.
And yet, you did not bring with you your two friends? You left them behind?
We split up.
Huh.
It's a bit of a maze down there.
Is it? Well, I've not heard a counteroffer, so I will offer one. I again free your plane for departure. You 3, or you 5, boarded, leave. And I will do everything in my power to learn of the fate of your two companions, and I will write correspondence as soon as I learn of those fates.
No. Will, darling, can I have your... And she holds her hand out for your weapon as she looks down at it.
My what?
Your gun?
What?
He just said Shaima was dead, and I promised this man that if Shaima was dead, I was going to put a bullet between his eyes. I don't need a letter from you telling me that Shaima is dead. I don't need your polite correspondence as you sit here and you continue to spread nectar and infect this world.
I am very sorry for the loss of your student. I know that this is not an unfamiliar feeling for you. That students
You really did your research, didn't you?
We are a capable organization. And you all have been very flagrant with your relationships. There is no reason for further violence. As I said, I will gladly orchestrate the means with which you all will survive, so that you can find yourself another student to put into grave danger.
I don't
later.
think you understand what your life being tethered to their life means. Bev, let's hold off on shooting him now. We can shoot him in a day or two. It'll be a painful day or two for him, maybe. But you are not going free without our companions.
He shouldn't go free at all, is what I'm saying.
The only way he gets a chance is if they're free.
Well, I have offered to take you to the shops. I could take you there.
What is the password for the shops?
Well, you all have made it through, so clearly you know.
No, there's a different password. Daniel, just tell it to us.
Why would I give you information when you have threatened my life so severely? And if I were to give away that little bit of leverage, there's nothing holding you all back from killing me.
If you tell us the password, then that may sate my bloodlust, because who's to say I won't die when I go down there to find my student? Then I'm not your problem anymore.
Tell you what.
Go ahead.
You can be real comfortable for the next few days. And I tap on the nectar vial. Or it can get rough. And I'd rather make it easy.
Okay. One of the two of you, give me a roll. Intimidation seems to be the primary goal here. So I would call for that. If you wanted persuasion, you could, but I would require a hard success.
Go ahead, Bev.
Why are you looking at me?
Okay. I'll go persuade.
What do you have in persuade?
15.
Or intimidate?
15. I was trying to offer him nectar.
Yeah, I have 10 and 15.
You're offering him nectar, but you're.
But I am actively threatening his life.
I'm not arguing the intimidation. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to start with the carrot, and then Bev came in with the stick, and now we're going stick. So let's do.
He wasn't falling for the carrot, so Bev.
No, I'm not criticizing. I'm going to take some audience boosts. Puts me up to 70. So then I need a 35. That is a 49, but I have a bit of luck. What would that be? 14 luck?
14. Mm-hmm.
All right, that's a good chunk of my luck. Puts me down to 19, but I'm spending it for the hard success.
He looks at the two of you. He looks at Marie. He looks at Frank, who's at this point tending to tea. And I have your word that if I give over the code, I will be set free.
As soon as we know for certain that Shaima and Patrick are free or confirmed dead, you will go free. You have my word. We might have to ask another question or two, but I promise we'll stop hitting you.
What if I accompany you?
What would that accomplish?
I accompany you. leave me in the car. You go inside. If I can find my way out, I find my way out. If someone else finds me, someone else finds me. But I would feel more comfortable knowing that I was not in your custody. Because, and I need to make this abundantly clear, as much as Tawi and I see differently, he will act as he sees fit, not as I see fit. You could descend into those sewers and he could hack you into 1,000 pieces. More than likely will do such a thing. So wherever you leave me while you all descend, I could be rotting away forever. If you were to leave me in your car on the street.
That's a fair point. And I understand the concern. Tell you what. If, for some reason, the worst would happen to me, and I know you're not hoping for that in the slightest, but if it did happen, or to my companions here, we have our good friend Frank here. And it's his plane that you've...
He's like, what?
It's his plane that you've grounded. And Frank will not be going into the sewers with us. Frank will be there to set you free. You'll be able to make a phone call, unground the plane, and let him fly off into the sunset, never to be seen again.
He looks at Frank. He looks at Bev. He looks at Will. He looks at Maria. Are any of you trying to deceive him? Or is this not okay? He will nod. The passcode, then. We have terms. We are here for the purposes set forth in times of old. You will need to say it.
I have a pen.
You will need to say it, Siamese. I am sure your can assist you with that. He points over towards T.
We're here for the purposes
set forth in the times of old.
In times of old.
In times of old, not in the time of old.
In times of old.
In times.
If you free me, I can write it down for you.
What does this code specifically tell them?
It tells them that you are there at my direction.
Why do you usually send people there for your direction? What do we expect?
There are a variety of reasons. Preferential seating in the rafters, watching the fights, discounts on nectar purchases.
I look towards Marie, I look towards Bev.
Would it make sense? Would it make sense for the passcode to accompany a note that indicates that we are seeking the return of Shaima and Patrick? So like the passcode gets us in the door as friendlies, but could we get like a written note from Daniel that indicates this is the information that we're seeking?
If that would make you happy, I can write that note for you, yes.
It would be.
While you're writing, one question about Tawi. When I was getting out of the maze, it seemed that he had a pretty tight control over that entire district, maybe? How much control does he have in Bangkok?
For Tawi, the world exists in his neighborhood. Beyond that, save for... the world exists in his neighborhood. You see him just kind of like caught himself for a second. And then he kind of redirects back. There is no power outside of his small portion of the world.
And who has power outside of that?
Why do you ask questions, George? You know, aren't you wasting time? Aren't your companions bleeding?
That's fair. That's fair. I'm so curious at times, and these questions, they burn up inside me. When I was at your house, there were some people that were banging on the door. It looked like they worked on the docks. They were stevedores, maybe. What did they want with you? They seemed quite angry.
Well, that is a personal matter. That has nothing to do.
We've gotten pretty personal. I feel like we can trust each other.
Are you reneging on our arrangement already?
I said there might be a couple other questions.
Well, you may ask them, but I have given what you've asked. If you would like me to write a note, I will, but that is all.
Time is burning. Let's go.
For now, though, you do need to go back in the trunk just for a bit. But here, you can have this. And I toss the nectar in the trunk.
Okay. And I think he's completely bound. So as he falls down onto the back of the trunk. Okay. So you guys shove him back in the trunk?
Yeah, we do make sure he's
We
dead.
would have needed to undo his bindings for him to write a note for us. And then...
That's true. If you want him to write a note, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the way
he writes a note.
The writing implement afterward.
He writes a note. It says, these people are searching for their companions, Patrick Price and Shima Oberon. Signed,
So
Daniel Loman.
when Marie, Bev, and Will were having their conversation in the group chat that you guys aren't a part of, we did say that we were not going back in the maze, and we were not going to try and enter the tea shop here. So somehow we've come back around to this plan. How do we feel about that, guys?
We have two options. We can either go with this plan or go to the head of the snake, which we know is Savitri. That's kind of what we've got. But the last place we know they were...
Take him with us. Like, taking him with us would be the way that we would try to get information from Tawi to come back out.
I don't want to put him in the maze either.
Not sure.
Is there...
We have...
We did promise him we wouldn't.
We wouldn't put him back in the maze?
We wouldn't take him with us because we could get hacked to pieces in the sewers.
I think we've just... there's what we would prefer to do. I think in the options that we have.
Well, we even said that we were being honest to Jeff. Like, we rolled persuade instead of fast talk.
We were being honest.
You guys have him. You guys have him in the trunk. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're not allowed to change your mind. It's just like at the time you guys are being honest, but maybe it dawns on you as you sit around like, wait, I thought we weren't going in the maze. That's fine. I don't mind that. Okay. Do you want even more time to think about this? We can cut back. Okay. We're gonna cut back the other two.
I'm just waiting
you
for
guys can
Patrick and Shima to show up
even
in the
more.
warehouse and
If we're
just
not
knock on
gonna
the door
have
and
that
say, hey,
happen.
we're okay.
Maybe before the end of 2024, we're gonna get a decision from this crew.
Jesus Christ.
Keep them alive, kill them, do something. Whatever. There's definitely a case for both, but just pick and go. All right, you guys can go ahead and take your headsets off. We're gonna bring the other crew back in. All right, let's go ahead and switch the music here. All right, we are going to come back. We are once more on our strange jungle area, and we zoom in on Shima. Shima, you have been just like racing off into the brush, and you've been sort of hacking, slashing, looking for anything over the course of the last 2 hours or so. This is your bout of madness, and slowly, I'm going to say it begins to fade. Give me a luck test, please.
Okay.
All right.
That is a success with a 4 under 43.
Okay. You have been running around and at great speed, despite the pain in your side from the sewers, despite the fact that this dripping mouth, your hand covered in blood from it, and you find yourself on a shore overlooking water. You've pushed through this like heavy thicket, and there's like a small scrape that kind of catches you on your face just beneath your eye, and that kind of the pain suddenly comes back to you, and that kind of snaps you back into reality. You look, and you see you have all these bramble scrapes and scratches, and you are on this rocky shore, and you can see out in front of you is water, and it's like lapping up a bit here or there. The moon is shining down, reflected in some of these light waves that are lapping up against this rocky shore. You are all alone. Somehow, in this craziness, last 2 hours, nothing otherwise horrific has happened to you. So, what's going through Shima's head? What does Shima want to do now?
She's gonna first kind of get her bearings and be like, okay, this is, we're by water, then we were brought here by a boat. So she's gonna look around for docks or any kind of boats.
Give me a spot hidden. It's very dark, but again, the moon is out, starlight's out, so it's giving you some light.
And that
you
will
don't have the torch.
be with the penalty.
Yeah.
Is
you still feel
2 penalties because it's dark, or just one?
No, it's not that dark. It's not pitch black, so you're fine.
Okay. That weirdly a success. 60.
Okay. As you are walking across this rocky shore, you notice something partially in the water, partially out of the water. You see these large bits of wreckage, and when you get a little closer, you realize they appear to be boats. However, they have been beached, burned, completely obliterated in every way, shape, or form. They appear to be very large boats in some cases. There looks to be 3. One of them looks to be the size of like a ferry. Another one looks to be almost looks a little bit more like a yacht. And then a third, it's a little smaller. And it's hard to really tell. But all of them are in this like blackened, ashy soot. Like they've been burned. And you don't get the sense that it's probably been very long. Like it's been a while since they've been burned, because they're like half buried in the water just outside the shore, and you can just see them there. But you can tell that they're not like jetties or not rocks. It's just this array of 3 destroyed boats.
And you just said this. I just want to reconfirm that I understand right. 3 unusable boats.
Oh, they are very much destroyed. Yeah, they have been burned and beached, and they are in terrible condition.
So, you tell me if this is reasonable, Jeff, or if this is perhaps too strategic, given the nectar I had about a badness, 2 bouts badness that just happened, or whatever. Sherman's still really pissed, and her whole thing is to cause hurt to this one. And given that there's like boats here and pits and everything, we just came to beds. I'd like to see if I can see where it looks like maybe her house is. Because her whole thing is that she wants to find the house and set fire to the house, because that will get her out of whatever the fuck place she's hiding in.
Right. Okay. Are you aware of a house?
I'm not.
Yeah.
It's just an assumption she makes, she would make, but I don't know if that's too strategic given everything else mentally that's happening.
Yeah, so basically moving around the island is going to take survival tests to essentially move. Like you're looking for things, whether it's on the rocky shore, whether it's through the beach. I don't think you glimpsed a structure. I know Patrick did and his companion did, but I don't think you did. Nonetheless, with the spot hidden, I'll say this. You see much further down the rocky shore, you can see something protruding out into the water. You barely can catch a glimpse of it. You just see the moonlight coming down, and it kind of gives you like a bit of a silhouette of something. It might be a structure, it might be a dock, you think, possibly?
Okay. Then I'm gonna stay along the coastline and make my way to it.
Okay. All right. Let me check with Patrick. Patrick, you have been moving in the direction of that structure that you saw kind of in the shadows, and you've kind of lost sight of it here and there as you've been in this low canopy. Give me a survival test, Patrick.
Survival is probably not the greatest. Let me find where that is.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, we're doing the skills that you guys don't normally roll.
Oh, it's a survival any. I see. So it's a 10.
Yeah, survival, usually there's like a specified, like sometimes if you get survival, you get like a specific terrain. Otherwise, you would just roll the general.
At a penalty, I got 65 failed.
Okay. So you, at one point, as you and this woman are traversing, you kind of push through again, this another horrible tangle, like you're using the weapon that Shima gave you or dropped before leaving to help pry some of these tangled branches away. But as you step through, you feel your ankle turn, and then you start tumbling down this kind of rocky slope, and then you slam at the bottom. Fortunately, this time there aren't spikes sticking up. It's just this uneven terrain. So you take 1 point of damage, reduce your dex temporarily by 10, and you feel that your ankle has been maybe not broken, but heavily sprained. And as you get up, like the nectar is allowing probably some of the pain to be dulled a bit, but you can still feel it. Like, so whatever you just did, you just really screwed up your ankle. You see the woman up. She learns from your lesson and kind of slowly and carefully dips down. And then when she races, she goes, "Are you okay? Are you okay?"
Mostly fine, just my foot.
And then as she like kneels down, you hear the as like her gnashing mouth and her leg nearly snaps out at you, and she quickly like stumbles and falls down. And then she will like reach out, and looking at it, she will attempt a first aid test on you and see if she can give you a little bit of a hand here.
Oh yes.
And she rolls a 14. So you can take 1 point of you can take that point of damage back, but you can still. And she like kind of fashions. She like looks around. Maybe she takes the weapon that Shima gave her and just snaps it in half, and then she puts it on either side of your leg. And then she looks around. She finds this this kind of long bladed leaf and just wraps that around and tries to tighten it. Try to stand.
Yes.
Try to stand.
It's quite useful. Are you a nurse?
No. Just an older sibling. And she looks around, and then you can see her eyes like go wide. When you track them, Patrick, you can see that you have moved much closer, and now that you are a little bit closer to that large like structure, you can tell at this point it is very much a home. It is a massive mansion, we'll call it, an estate. It looks to be about 2 stories high. It's sitting atop of a hill, and you can see that there is like a gnarly little like switchback path that goes up this depression that you're in up towards it. It stands right now in this moonlight, and the moonlight is kind of behind it a bit, giving it this glowing silhouette. You notice that there are no lights on. It is dark as dark can be. There's not like a lamp in a window. From what you can tell, there's not a light hanging outside of a door or anything of those, anything like that. You notice that winding switchback path occasionally has these like what looks like flat areas off to the right or to the left. Almost looks like little patios or something on the way up. But that is what you currently see.
There's a home here. Let's see if we could shelter.
But that woman. Okay. And then she gets up and she offers you her hand. Offers you a hand, like her shoulder, to try to like help with your limping at this point. Do you just go right up the path?
Yeah, we'll take any straightforward way there.
Okay. Give me a contest.
Con's pretty good at an 80.
Nice.
A 93.
Okay. Oh. You still feel the nectar working. So when she picks you up, or not picks you up, she kind of comes underneath you, like there's an instinct to like hit or whatever, but you can withhold it, but you can feel like the nectar still there. The fog is starting to lift a bit for you, but you are still suffering. You realize as you start walking up this switchback that you are likely at the rear of this estate, and you would guess it maybe faces outward in the opposite direction towards where that moon might be. And as you start coming up the hillside, you notice what looks like an extensive series of patios and gardens. You can tell that some of them at one point were tiled. Like you can see that they were these sort of beautiful clay tiles, others cobbled, and even the path you're on, you think at one point was likely paved, but it is all overgrown now. And you can see these creeping vines and vegetation and shrubbery that is, kind of encroaching on the path itself. You can see the gardens have been overgrown. You can see even the patios themselves the vines are just growing over top of furniture in some cases. Give me, what'd you roll on your spot in? Did you succeed?
No, earlier the spot in, I failed it.
I'll give you another one, if you like.
Okay.
Yeah.
71, failed again.
Okay. Do you want to spend 15 luck?
No, it's okay.
Okay. All right. And so, yeah, you just see this path continues upwards, foliage thick. You think like there are some places where you might see a window or a door kind of overgrown with foliage, and then eventually it goes up into the building itself. What do you think?
I'll make my way towards the window or building I see. Try to get in.
All right. You find yourself outside in a very familiar way of a conservatory, much like LA. You see this kind of like glassy paned exterior annex to the mansion itself. There are all sorts of vines and growth that's bursting through these panes. There's plenty of ways to climb inside if you wish to. Do you wish to?
Yeah. Have a little rest protection place.
Okay. You climb inside, and it's a little dicey as you hear the crunch of glass underneath your feet, but again, the pain is not enough to really bypass the nectar that you're feeling. Inside, the air is very humid, very thick. There's this earthy smell, soil, and there's a lot of rot. Just, it smells suddenly awful. And you can hear the buzz of insects as well. And you can't. I mean, it's so thick and dense in here that it's just as bad as some of the thickets out in the jungle. What would you like to do? Just rest?
Yeah, have a little moment.
Okay. So the two of you sit down, and she's like looking at you like, oh, this is are you sure this is safe? Or that woman, she this could be her home. She could be back here any moment. Are you sure?
I'll take care of it. But out there, it's so dangerous.
Okay. And she's looking around, and you can tell she's a bit panicked. We're gonna cut from there. Shaima, you said you were moving in the direction of what you thought might be docks.
Yeah.
And as you approach, you do notice, in fact, that it does appear to be a pair of docks, two of them jutting out into the water. And there is no signs of watercraft attached anywhere. No boats, no rowboats, no large boats, nothing. The boats do seem to be they seem functional in the sense that it doesn't look like they've been so dilapidated as a boat couldn't dock here. But at first glance, it certainly looks like there's nothing here. You notice that a little further beyond them on the shore, there looks to be like a boathouse. And then as your eyes track up, there is a hill. And when you look up, you can see this illuminated building, this massive estate. It's a little bit recessed from the dock. You can tell that there is a significant path that kind of weaves in that direction. There appears to be like a couple other outbuildings of some kind between here and where that large estate is. You're looking at this from the moon side of it, so you can see this the pretty much everything, and it is extraordinarily overgrown. You can tell it's about 2 stories high. You're thinking it's peaked up to the top. It's very colonial in its architecture. You can tell that there is great dilapidation going on from the light that you can see. The walls are just festooned with vine growth and vegetation growth. You can see shutters have fallen from where they might have once been. You can tell that there is a kind of a covered entranceway, this grand covered entranceway that has collapsed from the weight of the vegetation that has on top of the sort of the smaller roof. You can tell that there are some of these other smaller roofs that don't quite go all the way up to the second story that have collapsed as well. You can see like giant holes in them. This place is in horrific condition. What would you like to do, Shaima?
Don't have to roleplay, just tell me if I need to make rolls, but I would like to go to the boathouse and see about upgrading my weapon. Like, I'm happy to just break a thing off a chair or find a metal club or something to make what I currently have a little better. And also look for something that is a fire starter, because I want to set fire to that fucking house.
You go inside. Yeah, for sure. You go inside this boathouse, and the roof is in okay condition, but there are some slats that are missing, and so some of the moonlight's coming through, and you can see that there's a walkway, this rectangular walkway around this lapping water, because the boathouse is built over the water somewhat, right? It's still fairly dark, but it's almost like a kind of zebra, and there's lines of light and lines of darkness, and you can see that there are all sorts of the countertops and stuff hanging from the walls, none of it in great condition, but you very much see tools. You see things like hammers, you see things like saws, you can see things like spikes and posts and stuff like that. You can definitely tell that there is a collection here of tools. Are you looking to just sort of replace or just upgrade what you have?
I'm looking to upgrade what I have and potentially carry 2 more things on the off chance that I run into Patrick and Laman again. So okay,
give me a spot hidden. No, you're good. I'm sorry. I spoke over you.
No, I spoke over you. I'm just nervous. Sorry.
No. I spoke over you. Okay, go ahead. Spot hidden, please.
I always have to like remember the penalty die. Second.
You will get a con roll shortly to see if you shake off the effects.
Yeah, no worries. I've lost so much fucking sanity. I'm not even. That's a 44 success.
Regular success. Okay.
Yeah.
You can find a hammer, a decent size like hand sledge. You can carry that.
Yes.
I will drag that onto your sheet in a second. Then you said you were looking for like 2 more things in case you run into Patrick again.
Yeah, Patrick and the woman.
All right, so it's just a regular success, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna slide that over. So I give them like generic terms. So this is a reliable,
That's
simple
totally
weapon.
fun. And I think the loss of sanity is very much like I just want to put her down the ruin. Like I don't really care.
So I'll say that you find a like a hand sledge, not like a full 2-handed sledge, but like a hand sledge. You can find a shovel, and then it looks like you can find some kind of like sort of like boat hook that could probably work. And so essentially you get like a reliable weapon and then 2 decent weapons.
Amazing.
However,
okay,
as you're like looking through some of the debris and the tools and such here, you feel a cold wet hand wrap around your ankle. Now, you are not going to get technically surprised here because you are alert. Your pulp talent.
I have alert.
So she is I'm going to make her roll to actually do this as opposed to just doing it for free. You can, if you like, roll to dodge or to fight back, but it's going to be at a penalty. I'm going to give you a penalty die because you were doing other things, but you can do it. So I think because it's a fight back roll, it's just going to be a flat since you're still suffering from nectar.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, is that how it works?
Yeah, just do flat one. Yeah. Okay. So are you dodging or are you fighting back?
I'm fighting back. And I'm also gonna take 1 audience die, which pushes me up to 95 because I really want to succeed at this. I'll
right ahead.
tell Mel when she gets back.
You're going to need it.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured.
You said fight back? That's what you're doing?
Yeah, fighting back.
Okay.
Sorry, just give me 1 second. I closed my sheet by accident. 11.
Your
Under
extreme
95.
success beats her hard success. As she grabs at your foot, you realize she is in the water trying to pull you down into the water. And like you just whirl around, and with your newfound sledge, like you can kind of sweep down almost like a golf swing and clip her in the head. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Hell yes.
You got
Can
it.
I
You
use
got a
the
hit.
reliable, which is
Yeah, the new one.
1d6 plus 1?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you got it. Just roll a
go?
d6. I think you might have to like manually do it.
Okay. Sorry.
No, you're all good. Aw, okay. Hey, it's a start.
My damage rolls in this game, man.
You swing and you see it catches her off guard. She has like, and you see this swath of blood just flies out of her mouth. Then, and you were asking about this earlier, as you were swinging at her, because you're in melee, one of the other things that's going to happen is that as your follow through comes through, your left hand snaps out at her as well. So you do an additional, hang on one sec.
I rolled a 2 for anyone. I'm so sorry I didn't mention that before. So I rolled a 1 and then I get +1, so that's it.
Roll an extra D3, as it's going to take a bite as well.
Fuck, that's so fucking cool.
Okay. How did it do more than you? Okay.
It's an eldritch horror.
And you reach down
Just
with the
amateur
hand.
wrestler.
She stumbles back and you see her like splash down into the water. And you look for a second, and like the water starts to calm, and like, because it looks like she had climbed up on like a stoop or something to try to pull you down, and then you knocked her off that stoop, and she splashed down into the water. Doesn't immediately resurface. Shima, what do you want to do?
Bend down and stick my hands in the water and instinctively start seeing if I can like feel her in the water.
Looking and looking and looking. Okay. So you're just sort of instinctively looking, right?
Like with my hands, not with my eyes, because it's
dark. Give me a dex. We'll say dex, as you just kind of like feel around for something.
Yeah.
And
do I get a bonus on that for?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I'll take it for this.
Sweet. That is a 26 under 60.
You reach around, down, you think you grab something, and then you go to pull, and you feel a tug. And as you pull your hand up out of the water, you have a chunk of her hair. But she rolled a hard success on her dodge, and so her head is not attached to it, as you have just yanked a chunk of her hair out. And as you're looking and you're looking, she doesn't resurface.
Shamir sits back and screams frustratedly, and we'll go back to looking for a fire starter.
Give me a contest.
Yeah.
And this is, I don't know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. It's, you know, like it gives you bonuses for fighting.
Yeah.
You failed, so you're still suffering from the nectar. Yeah, you're still suffering from the nectar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm still looking for that. Going back looking for the fire starter. The plan hasn't changed.
There is no, I will say there is no, you don't find like a lantern or anything like that. That you definitely don't find. But you do find tools, so you can grab like other tools and things.
Great. Then if I'm pretty reasonably sure that I'm not finding gasoline or lantern or anything like that, I'm just gonna make my way to the house and find something there.
Patrick, I want to come back to you one more time, and before we go back, because I saw Ashley just stepped away, so let's come back to you one more time. You have been waiting around in this conservatory for, we'll say, like half an hour, 45 minutes or so. It's maybe longer. It's hard to say. When you suddenly hear the sound of a piano coming from an adjoining room of the house. It's just like a couple notes played out of key, out of tune, but you can hear it. And it's over top of the heavy buzzing of insects within this thick conservatory, this overgrowth of the conservatory.
Did you hear that? Something's playing.
Someone's inside. I told you someone's inside. I told you someone's inside. And you could tell she's like really nervous.
Let's go see if there is somebody.
Let's just go away. We can
go away. We don't even know where we are. On an island.
Well, then we'll find a boat, or we can make a raft. We can make a raft. You look handy. You look handy. You could make a raft, right? We could find a door. If we could find a door, and we can go make a raft.
In the dark, we're gonna drown out there. And I'll make my way towards the inside.
Okay. You push inside, and it's not hard to do so. Everything's broken. As you follow the sounds of like this handful of keys, you go inside. You're in this like kind of ante room first, and you look behind you for a second, and she's not there. And then she is. There's like this long pause. You get maybe she was hesitating, but eventually she's following you. And you find yourself in this this like grand ballroom. This huge open floor that probably once had amazing tile and this sort of kind of like ornate pattern that has since been just destroyed by what looks like stains. Something has fallen and broken here. The furniture has splintered in some cases. In other cases, it looks swollen. Some of it, you hear it dripping as if like the water is coming through, and you can see there's a bit of moonlight coming down from the center of the ceiling, and there's like this open skylight, and it's coming down through that skylight. You can see this light and it seems to be shining half on a 3-legged grand piano that is tilted off to the side and seems to be the source of the music that you're hearing.
Go up to it and press a couple keys myself.
You walk up to it. When you look at it, you can see like there's no one here, and yet it's still playing music. You can see ding, 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 and you can see like the keys are moving as they might a little bit, and you press a few, but nothing happens.
There's nobody here. It's an automatic playing one.
And she looks at it and she's, I don't think that's an automatic playing one. It's too, and it's, again, a grand, huge piano. Give me a listen test.
My listen is a 65. My penalty, though, 54 is best.
You hear in between some of that playing, you hear coming from beneath or inside of the piano itself.
It's definitely something inside here. I'll lift up the cover.
And you see inside the piano, by the strings, there is a gnashing, spitting mouth that is like bent around some of the frame, and you can see its long tongue has emerged from it and from the wood that it seems to be pressed against, and it's just like splashing around in this haphazard way and happening to pluck some of the strings. You hear as she makes this loud scream that echoes throughout this estate. What do you do, Patrick?
I'll bash it a bit with my torch, hitting the piano wires.
And you just
make a bunch of noise.
And as you do, I'm going to say that's going to snuff out the torch. You kill it without issue, but the torch snuffs out. And like there's a tiny little flicker of flame for a moment, but then you realize the wood in this thing is so soggy. It's long been underneath this open skylight above. The rain has drenched it, that it just doesn't really catch. And then you look back and you can see a shadow move in the room on the opposite side, over by where the conservatory was. We'll cut from there. We'll bring them back in. Okay. This is so much fun. It's like I'm running 2 sessions at the same time. I'm having fun. Is everybody having fun?
This is great.
Ashley's not. Okay.
I'm having so much fun.
Absolutely
God.
rage quit.
Yeah,
we
so
were having our
what were you guys
talking about?
She said,
Why'd you leave?
fuck all of you. I'm leaving. I hate you all. I'm never playing again. It was in that tone too. That same monotone. Like she was just done with it.
All of that sounds pretty accurate. Okay. All right. I'm coming back to you all. Do you finally have a plan? It has been 17 hours of playtime.
Melissa, you're the one who hasn't voted.
Are you serious? I've been over with them for like a half an hour and you haven't voted yet? Killing me. Killing me, Smalls. Come back. Scenes reset. We are in the warehouse. Frank Kearns is looking at you guys and he's just like, what are we going to do? We're like, what are we doing? Come on, guy. What are we doing? I forgot. He's forgetting he's Boston, not New York.
Man with the thousand voices.
Man with a thousand voices.
Australia.
Hi. What are we going to do? Huh?
So
Well-
he has given us a passcode that is given to customers who would go down for different purposes. So we could do that, but then we're just there with no particular plan other than we go there as customers to the fighting pits, hoping to see them. We could go in with a note with the
I do
passcode.
question whether Tawi can even read, but maybe someone around him could read.
There is that consideration as well.
Or we be honest here and we accept that Patrick and Shima are very likely dead. And we continue with the investigation. It's sad. It's a shame. We were almost dead ourselves. It could have been worse.
It's not. We've been to multiple places, and that's not what we do. We don't just leave folks and assume that they're dead. We do everything we can do.
I saw Shima
until
take
we know.
Pretty hard hits. There were a lot of machetes swinging down on her.
Shima's tough.
She seemed tough, but
I've seen her. I've seen her be in fights. She's scrappy.
yeah, I'm sure in a boxing match, I wouldn't want to fight her. This is real life. There were 12 people around her. They all had machetes. There was a lot of blood.
But then what would we do?
We continue the investigation.
He knows Tawi. Tawi would know if they're alive, right?
At this point, I even wonder if Daniel told Tawi to make sure they're alive, would Tawi kill him out of spite? It seems like they don't have that kind of relationship.
They all work for the same person. They all know that they have jobs to do and that they have to work together.
Yeah, and we could try to ransom Daniel to Savi, and perhaps that way, but we have no way of contacting Savi. We only know that this island makes the lunatic laugh maniacally.
It does.
You know, we can't walk in there like we did the tea shop. So again, like, we can keep Loman in the trunk for a few days. But we're not going to be able to just drive to the island and hope to make a trade. We'd have to lay some groundwork there.
We went into the tea shop and we knew very little about it. And if we do the same thing with the island, it seems like we would just be walking ourselves into
So again,
something bad.
We might need to just accept that Patrick and Shima are dead.
What are we doing with the fact that we have him? Are we just keeping him until we know for sure and then he gets our plane?
We keep him happy, keep him fed with nectar so he won't cause any problems. And well, we try to ransom him to Savi. We use him as leverage as needed. Listen, if you are convinced that Shima is still alive even after all that, I'll back your play. I'll go into that maze with you again, and we can try to get them out. But you need to be convinced.
I don't. I'm trying to find the gray area, the middle ground. We don't go all the way into the maze, but we use the connection between these two men, and we try to get the information.
Yeah, we try to leverage Daniel against Tawi, who doesn't care about Daniel whatsoever, or we try to leverage him to Savi,
we only know that
who we don't know how to contact.
But we do know that Daniel is not high up in the management. He is not. So if he's not high up in the management, then who's to say that, Tawi's below him? If he's the one who's helping produce the nectar, he's already a step above Loman.
We have letters from Savi basically admitting that there's tension between Tawi and Daniel as well. He's not entirely making that up. He may exaggerate it. But if we want to leverage him, we leverage him to Savi, where he has value. Otherwise, we go in the maze again.
Are we really going to not check and see if our friends are there? Is that what happened to me? Was you guys looked for me?
You're not understanding how
we did. we wandered the streets for hours with no clues as to where you were, just to try to see if we could find what had happened to you, Bev.
We went into that,
and now we know where they are.
Exactly, and we have a note. We have a passcode, and we have a note.
I don't know truly how much that will help, but if there's a chance that they're alive, we owe it to them to check to see if they're there. But if you truly believe, Will, that they're dead, Will, do you truly believe that they're dead?
I didn't see any dismembered corpses, but at the same time, I saw enough to let me think one way or the other. I'm not going to tell you it's 100%. Daniel seemed
all
to
I
think
know
it was 100%.
is we're wasting time. That's all I know. Yeah. We're wasting time. We need to hurry up and make a decision and go.
You're right. We don't know for sure that they're dead. We should go to the tea shop. We have a passcode. We have a note. It's more than we had previously. And we see what information we can get from Tawi at the tea shop. And get him to the tea shop.
Do me a favor, though. Don't pull out that note. That's not going to do us any favors.
We should give it a try.
Let's go with the passcode. We pretend we're customers. We're trying to see the sights. That note will be in our back pockets. But if we lead with that, they're going to know exactly who we are. And they're not going to be amenable.
They already know who you are. I mean...
They didn't know who we were last night. They might know now after seeing us again, but... I'll put a hat on.
So we're going to the tea shop, right? We're going to give it a try?
Yeah, we're going to look and see if Shima and Patrick are alive.
I got to write a will.
You guys get back into the damn car. You pull out of the damn warehouse. You realize Cthulhu has already ascended. The world has ended. And that is the end of this camp. No, you get back in the car. And it is nighttime. You've been here for hours. So I guess the only question I have is, are you having Frank Kearns kind of drop you off? Are you dropping Frank Kearns somewhere? Are you taking Loman with you, or are you having like Kearns and
I would tell Kearns to we would like pick a spot as we're driving, to rendezvous back later, and then tell Kearns to just stay on the move. Just keep moving the car with Loman in the trunk. And then we need T to get into the tea shop too. The poor guy, because we have to speak Siamese.
We need a translator.
Okay.
Well, he said we have to say the passcode in Siamese too. Yeah.
Okay. Somebody give me a test to convince him to do that.
Could I lie to him and tell him it's going to all be okay?
It could be fast talk. You can fast talk and bullshit him. It's fine.
Okay. I can try that.
Just so you know, fast talk, I'm not sure if you've read the skill. Fast talk is not a permanent change of mind. It is a temporary change of mind. In like a half an hour, an hour, something like that, someone realizes the bullshit. And they're like, hey, wait a second.
I can persuade. I can persuade that we have made mistakes here, and not being able to speak the language was chief among them. We need to try to rescue our friends, and we need someone who can hear the chitter chatter that's going on around us and what's being said. And he told us that we need to say this in Siamese, and we cannot speak it. In Thai, sorry.
I can teach you if you like. It is not hard. It is just one sentence.
Yes, and you're right. You could, and I believe that we could say the phrase, but we've been at a disadvantage when people around us are saying things and we don't know what they're saying.
Roll your persuade.
Yep, I'm rolling under 73.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It's fine.
17.
And he looks and he said, "Your friends are lucky to have people who would go to such great lengths to help them. I am envious." And he looks back to Frank, and he says, "I can help you. I need to warn you. I am not skilled in fighting. If it comes to it, I am." And he gestures to himself, and he's very thin. He's a scrawny guy, and I can run, but I'm a pacifist.
Hey, look at me. I'm also a scrawny guy. I don't plan on fighting either.
I
really don't
mean
want to.
disrespect, but it doesn't seem that your plans have been coming to fruition since you've come to Bangkok.
You're very right about that.
I can come in with you.
Do appreciate that. I almost have no words. I'm quite
He's a good man.
fearful.
I slap him on the back.
A little too hard. You can tell he's a little bit of an academic. Yeah. Oh. Okay. So you guys drive over in the direction of the tea shop. You know the address, or the honey shop. A fragrant honey shop is what it's called. You get dropped off a couple blocks away. Frank takes over the car from T. You leave Loman in the trunk. Correct?
Yeah.
And then the three of you with T in tow, you continue the rest of the way. It is nighttime. You guys have been debating for hours. And that means
like
that
a week.
By the time you get to the fragrant honey shop, you see that the lights are no longer on inside, and it is no longer open for business. Front door seems to be closed. There is an alleyway next to it. You do notice, though, there is the side door. You look around and you don't see any signs of people in the area. What do you want to do?
T, do you mind giving a knock on the door?
Okay. And do you want me to do the front door to the shop or the side door? He goes up and he knocks on it. A couple moments pass and you see the door swings open. Fairly dark inside, but you can see there's a lantern of some kind that is a little bit diffused. And there is a man that you don't recognize him specifically, but you've seen his varietal. He is dressed in sort of not tattered rags, but definitely tattered clothing. And he looks at the two of you, or excuse me, at the three of you, because you're behind T, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. I would have.
So
we talked about changing clothing, so I would want to make sure that I don't wear the exact same clothing as before. But yeah.
Okay. So we're saying you stopped first to
well, you guys
yourselves
changed
a bit
clothing already, right? Or are you talking more like disguise?
Oh, when we went to the hotel, yeah, from the night when we were here,
yeah. You changed clothes because you stopped at your hotel.
Already changed, yeah.
And I got a hat to cover my hair.
Okay. What are your luck scores, the three of you?
Shit.
69.
Nice.
71.
Okay. All right, Steven, what you got?
Can we split it? Can we just go 70?
I would like to know what you have.
I don't want to tell you though.
I can look at your sheet. I can just look at you.
It's 19.
I would like Will to roll a luck test, please.
Oh shit.
I'm warming up. I'm priming. I'm getting there.
Taking a really long time. Hey man, I love it when we don't say anything for a good 5 seconds. That's great audio.
I rolled a 43.
Okay. All right. How about psychology? What are your psychology scores?
60.
Okay.
64.
Okay. Marie?
69.
Wow.
Nice.
Look at this. Marie, roll a psychology test.
$19.
Okay. You notice the guy behind the door, his eyes go to the three of you, or at least to you, Marie, and to Will. And you see him like zero in on Will for a second. His eyes are just kind of staring at him. And Tia's talking, and he says the phrase. Like he's very nervous, but you could tell he gets it out. And in Thai, in Siamese, he says, "We are here for the purposes set forth in times of old." And the guy at the door looks around and really zooms in on Will. And then says something back to T and closes the door. And T turns around to you, completely unaware of all of that other nonverbal stuff that was happening. He said, "We need to wait here, and he'll return in a few minutes and escort us." I think that went well.
This isn't what you said happened last time.
It's actually exactly what happened last time. You guys gave a passcode, and they waited, and then they eventually got let in. Yeah, there's a little bit more stuff going on at the time. Like
I thought they got immediately in, so that was just me. Okay,
they got let in at a certain point and like wandered away. But Marie, you noticed that guy was staring at Will, and you probably get the feeling that he recognized Will.
He knows he knows who you are.
Me? How would he know me? T says, I've never.
I put my hand on his shoulder. I think she's talking about me. Sorry. I know how tender it can be. Okay. Why don't...
If he recognized you, we're fucked.
Marie, Bev, why don't you go meet up with Frank?
Are you kidding?
I go in, I talk, they know it's me already. No matter what, if I go now, they're still gonna think that you two are suspect.
We have to, and Marie's trying to think on her feet. We have to use Daniel. He's in the car here somewhere. Frank's driving around. Yes.
I take the note and I put it in my back pocket. I'll try to negotiate.
All of you roll listen tests. Or a spot hidden if you prefer, but it's one or the other.
Always spot hidden.
Okay.
Although I'm not as good with this character.
Potentially different information, though.
Spotsy hiddensy.
I'm gonna
Does anybody have listen?
I have 20, so I'm gonna take 2 boosts and I'm gonna try for listen.
Is that your highest of listen or spot hidden?
No, my spot hidden 64, but you guys are already doing spot hidden.
Do spot hidden, and I've got 60 for listen. So I'll do listen.
Oh, okay, cool.
My
Let's
spot
just let
hidden is
Ashley play her own
45.
character, Melissa. Just,
And I rolled exactly a 45.
Okay.
And I was excited about it, but I didn't get to say it because you guys were talking about spot hidden and listen. So, now the moment passed.
I got a regular success for
Okay.
spot
I'm not
hidden.
sad about it.
All right. So Will and Bev both succeeded at their spot hiddens. Is that correct? Did I hear that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Any hard successes or just straight up regular successes?
Regular.
I'm gonna spend 4 luck for a hard.
Okay. All right. Bev, you, with your hard success, you see that there is a shadow that seems to be moving up from that alleyway that you had ran down when you escaped your captors. And that shadow turns to 2. And then it turns to 3.
Oh, Bev's
And
gonna grab us and I'm gonna start running.
Wait on that.
Oh,
Let me give all the
okay.
information first, because
Okay,
there's a
okay.
bunch of stuff that I'm about to give you.
I'm scared.
You guys have been sitting here chatting after this door thing, deciding what to do. They are much quicker decision makers. You see 3 people walking up from the alley in your direction from the way you came, and you can see their shadows, and you can see them at a distance. With your hard success, that means you catch it when they are not right on top of you, and you catch it just a hair before Will does. Marie, how did you do on your listen test?
I failed with an 82, but I'm going to spend the luck to get down to 60, which is where my listen is.
Okay. All right. You hear the sounds of a vehicle. And you can see that there is like a headlight that you think has started to emerge somewhere down the street a little bit. And you can see driving down the street a ways away. It's a car. You're not sure whose car it is, though. It certainly doesn't look like the one that Frank's been driving. And you also hear noise going around inside. You hear the sounds of a door slamming shut or something like that inside through the door. Okay, now that's all the information you have. Now what do you guys want to do?
Oh, Bev's fucking grabbing people and running.
Okay. Which way are you running? So there's the alleyway, there's the street, but the one way on the street is now there's a car on one end, and there's not a car on the other end.
She's gonna head the way to this.
The 3 people are in the alley.
You're going to head towards the 3 people in the alley?
Oh, I'm not.
I was asking, the 3 people are in the alley.
There's 3 people coming up from the alley. So basically you guys drove up, or you
T-intersection,
guys walked up on the street. Yeah. And so like you guys are at a corner of a street in an alleyway. The alleyway is where the side door is. You guys are standing in the alleyway outside the side door. Coming up from deeper in the alley are those 3 shadows that Bev sees coming, and Will, you see it a second or 2 later. Marie, you hear the sounds of a car engine. You peek back towards the front of the building, and you can see driving up from like just kind of down the block a little bit. You could see a vehicle coming down in your direction slowly. And that is what you guys see.
I'm going the way down the street where the vehicle is not at.
Okay. So Bev, who do you grab when you start running?
She just yells, "Run!" and then she'll grab Tawi because he's the poor innocent person that we.
Tawi.
We don't want Tawi.
Sorry,
He's like,
wrong T.
He kills you with his giant
Wrong
quiver.
T.
Cut you in half.
No, I grabbed T because
Right.
he's the poor innocent we brought along with us.
So you grab him and you hear him go, and then you start running down the street away from the car. Marie and Will, what do you do?
Oh, hell. I start running after her.
Okay. You guys run after. Marie?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys start running. So you run, and we're going to cut from there to the other scene.
Wait, we're doing another chase scene, right?
Probably. We'll see if we get it done this episode. You guys took 8 days to make a decision, so we might not get to it tonight. But I want to come back
I
to
more information is what it was.
I thought you were just going to kill him. I was surprised that he was still alive.
He was pushing.
Yeah.
I really tried.
Yep. Okay.
All
All right. So go ahead and remove your stuff. Yeah. Okay. So last we saw, Shaima, you had you were inside of the boathouse, and then Patrick, you were inside of the big estate. I'm gonna go to Patrick. Patrick, you are in this again, this large grand ballroom. There is a grand piano that's missing one of its legs. That's kind of tilted over onto its side, swollen with humidity and with rain coming from a skylight above that has shattered through the sky. Through the ceiling. There's glass all over the place. The ground is really destroyed. And your companion has recently just sort of screeched the sight of one of these mouths. And I'll tell you this, by the way, you don't have to roll sanity anymore for seeing those in these just types of situations. You've already like maxed out your sanity loss from them. It's old hat seeing those little things. So unless it's like something specific, like seeing them on Savitri's leg and whatnot, like that is different. But you see, as you look back at her, at your companion, I keep calling her that, by the way, because you haven't asked her name, and you can see she's freaking out a little bit, and you see a shadow racing across the other side as your torch was just doused. What do you want to do, Patrick?
Make my way towards the shadows where I last saw it moving.
You move over. You move to the side of this grand ballroom. You notice on the ground there's like water on the ground. Like there's like all sorts of streaks of water, like what looks like muddy footprints, like water and like the dust and the dirt on the ground right here in front of you, and darkness all about. This there's like this double-doored entrance into this grand ballroom that connects to a hallway, which then goes outside out to the conservatory where you were before. And so you're kind of in that hall looking down and seeing this trail of water and mud. What would you like to do?
It's pretty obvious. I'll follow the trail of footprints.
Okay. As you follow the trail of footprints, you notice that they lead down the hall a bit, and then you find yourself in this enormous dining hall. You can see that a chandelier has collapsed from the ceiling, crashed into this long table that has been overturned long ago, and so it's like crashed on top of like the underturned portion of it. You can see that there's all sorts of fine porcelain and tarnished silverware that are scattered about. You can see that there are these damp curtains, dark and thick, that are coating the windows so you can't see out. It's extremely dark in here. Give me a spot hidden test.
'93 failed.
Okay. You do not notice until it's too late. The shadow moves out from what looks like a chunk of rubble. And you see at the last second this small sliver of a spear jutting in your direction. And you can see like from the light behind you, like the bits and pieces of light coming in through other cracks in the rooftops and such. So she is going to a little attack on you. Keep losing track of where I put her stuff. All right. So, okay. She's going to roll a little attack on you, man. How do you feel about that?
She just has 0 on everything.
Is this fight back?
Like 9%.
You can fight back. I'm going to say a penalty die in this case, since she's sort of getting the jump on you in a way. I'm not going to call it like full-on surprise. Because you did kind of know she was in here. You kind of followed her tracks a bit. So I'm not going to say like full on out of nowhere, but like she just gets you. So she kind of gets the attack off before you're fully ready. So just roll with a penalty die.
I roll 13. If I spend 2 luck real quick, it'll be a extreme.
Is that a fight back?
Yes.
Okay. Your fight back beats her hard success. So yeah, roll your damage with your... You have like this kind of crude chunk of wood that Shaima gave you. So
I smack her for 1 damage.
Yeah, and so she lunges out at you. You manage to just kind of use the momentum of the strike to like take the swing and kind of catch her in the side of her face. So you get her for 1, you said? Then, yeah, I missed. So her mouth, and like you can feel like the mouths like reach out and try to grab you, but they miss. Yours, however, does not. So go ahead and roll a d3. Is whenever you attack and you hit with your attack, which you've done, your mouth also takes a bite.
Injures her for 2 damage.
Yes.
I love how your mouths are, in both cases, are out damaging both of you. Okay. Okay. Then, so she sort of slashes out at you. What's your dex now after your penalty? 50. Oh boy. Okay. So then your companion's going to actually get to go first. So 50 for Patrick. And then mystery companion, whose name you are rudely not asking for.
Lady, there's something in you.
My name's not Lady, you brute. Okay. She's got a 70. And then... Okay. All right. So she's going to also try to swing. She's like, and she's gonna like just with this crazed swing. She's not necessarily God damn it! I'm doing awesome. That's a 28 to hit. I am going to roll. She can dodge though, so I'm gonna try to dodge. And she does dodge. So she swings. So your companion swings at Savitri. I'm just gonna call her by her name. I think you guys kind of suspect who this is, so I'm just gonna call her that just to keep it clean and easy to follow. So your companion swings. Savitri just very quickly, even though you took her off guard for a second, she regains her balance like almost instantly, like a dancer. And she just twirls around and you see this flourish of the spear as she suddenly squats down and holds the spear right up in your direction in the middle of this dining hall as you're standing there. So that's a miss. Patrick, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
I'll wrestle with her to get the spear out of her arms.
All right, so you're going to try a fighting maneuver?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is going to be so you're going to roll your brawl. She's going to, I think I can still attempt to dodge, since that's what she's going to attempt to do. For her, there'll be a penalty die on it that is canceled out by her other thing. Okay.
Regular success for me.
All right. Regular success for me as well on my dodge. As you try to reach out to grab the spear, she kind of almost flies it up into the air and twirls it around, pulls it back out of your way so you can't grab it. And you just kind of stumble around in the dirt and the debris. Okay. Then she is going to, as she kind of reaches back, she's going to climb up like in this sort of back pedal on top of some of the rubble. She's going to climb up and just leap out and just try to spear down onto you with her next attack. So, fighting back or you're dodging? This is a new round.
Yeah, I'm continuing to fight back.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and give it a roll. Oh, that's right. Keep forgetting she gets a bonus die.
Right. 16 is hard, but I'll spend 5 luck for extreme.
Okay, your extreme success is actually good enough to beat her hard success again. So roll your damage.
Nice.
Come on, crude weapon. Ooh, a 6 this time, but 5 damage.
Hell
okay.
Yes.
All right, and then roll a d3 for your mouth.
Another 2.
Okay. All right. You can see every time she lunges at you, every time she stabs at you, the mouth on her thigh, the mouth on her forearm also like kind of pull out. You can see tug away from the skin and try to snap at you. But you're able to kind of keep your distance and just sort of fight her off a bit. And this, like yours is just like this brute strength. Hers is just this whirling flash of speed. But in this case, strength is outdoing speed. Your friend, your companion will try again. And she'll fail this time. Wait. No, it's not a critical fail. 95. That's a fail on that. And it comes back to you as the three of you are kind of dancing around in the rubble of this dining room.
do the only thing I know what to do right now to fight for my life. So I'll continue striking at the shadow I see.
Okay. She's going to dodge. Okay. That's a good one.
Oh, I actually failed.
Really? Okay. I got a hard success on my dodge. So she quickly steps out of the way again, and she kind of just slides across the ground. You hear like the crunch of glass from the chandelier underneath her feet. Doesn't complain whatsoever about the pain. And then as you whirl around, she takes the spear and lunges it up at you for her attack. Still fighting back?
Yeah, it's been working well.
Go for it. Oh, come on. There we go. That's better.
Ooh, I failed. 68.
Okay. All right. Hard success for her. She lunges out with her spear and this time finally gets you. So she's going to do some damage. Okay. 7 points of damage from her spear. And then...
I'll tough guy 10 luck to negate 5.
Okay. And then her mouths are also going to get their opportunities finally. They have to roll, though. So it's not automatic like you guys. First one hits. Second one misses. Okay. So 1 HP loss, and I need to roll a contest.
$68 pass.
Okay. As this thing sinks into you, you just feel like this momentary bit of rage, as if it's almost like taking you. You essentially regain composure for a moment, where it looked like you were about to sort of drift off into some other place. Shaima, you said you were making your way to the house. Roll a listen test.
That'll be at a penalty.
As you are slowly creeping up, you're underneath the fractured overhang of the front porch, basically. Oh my God, 2 8s.
8.
I wouldn't believe it if you said that to me. So I'm glad you rolled it in here so I can actually believe you. Okay. You hear the sounds of fighting, and because it's an extreme success, I'm going to say you hear the sounds of Patrick's voice specifically calling out at some point.
I'm going to pick up my pace.
Okay, so you pick up your pace. You get to this door, this front door. It's swollen. It's off its hinges. You can hear the fighting through it. How do you want to go through the door? Are you just going to Kool-Aid man it? Are you going to stealthily move into it?
I'm going to try and open it, and if it doesn't just open, I'm going to shoulder.
Okay, it's kind of wedged. It's sort of wedged shut, but you're able to shoulder it open. And as it flies open, this chunk of vines and foliage that were stuck above just fall and collapse onto you. You get some dust in your eye. It takes you a moment. But when you wipe them away, you look and you're in, it's like some sort of grand foyer. You can see these 2 winding staircases go up to the top, and they're connecting. And then you can hear off to your left the sounds of fighting. And when you look over, you can see 3 people that are in a scuffle inside of like the frame of the dining hall.
One of them is this woman.
It's very dark at this point. All you can really see are just the flash of people fighting. All of them are nude. There's really no discernible like clothes or anything like that.
Okay. At the very least, I can make a reasonable assumption that that's where Patrick's voice comes from. So I'm going to just launch myself at that direction.
Okay, so you just race over. All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back into what's your dex, so I know for future.
Dex is 60.
Okay, so you're gonna go before. So this would be basically your turn, as you are now inside the house, approaching the noise. I'm gonna say your friend, your companion there, Patrick, is going to get a chance to hit first. And will, but let me roll my dodge. And that is that's an extreme on the dodge. So your friend looks like she's about to hit, like has her dead to rights, but just like this woman moves so fast. Low center of gravity, spinning, swirling around, and just as your friend, your companion swings down, like she stumbles, steps on some of this rubble, and Savitri is able to kind of whirl around, face you once more. Patrick, it's your turn.
You're doing well. We're landing hits on her.
Okay.
I'll swing away.
Okay. Give it a go.
What do you want, regular?
Okay. She's just on pure dodge mode, just so you guys know. So that's just what she does. So I'm gonna try it. And that is a 3. So a 3 for her would be an extreme success. So you come charging at her, and once more she like dodges off to the side. But as she spins around, like standing on top of some of this broken chandelier, she looks out at you, and then she looks past you, Patrick. And she can see that she's not looking at you, but looking at something else. If you look over your shoulder briefly, you can see kind of rushing into the room, or rushing to kind of catch up to you, is like a sort of a limping, galloping Shaima. She's got this sledgehammer in one hand, and she's got these other tools in the next. And this woman, as she's staring at you, turns, races across the dining room, and leaps out of the window that's covered in the canopy. We're going to cut from there for now. You guys have a chance to chase, don't worry. So let's bring them back. Okay.
Ew.
So back to the other group. And that's where we're going to end it for tonight. All right. Got him.
Oh,
That was a lot of fun.
gracious.
We've been playing Orbital Blues without you. That's what we've been doing.
what?
Yeah.
But I
Honestly,
like
that
Orbital
would be-
Blues.
Yeah, no, it's
Such
been
a good
a lot of
hilarious.
fun.
That would be
It's been a lot
amazing.
of fun.
I cannot wait till you guys listen back to everything that's been going down and realize what's been happening while you guys have had your headphones off. It's going to be fantastic. But unfortunately, can't do it yet.
I
So-
know.
Can't listen back. You guys,
I knew it. I knew we were gonna do this to Jeff for one more fucking session.
long, my tray.
You
Good
all.
job. Rest of you, right here. That's what I think. Your decision making. Jeez, ridiculous. Okay.
This is why the two-party system doesn't work, because we have 3 very wildly conflicting opinions, and
There's
neither
3
of
of
us
you,
can
though.
side.
There's 3 of you. It's not a 2-party system. There's
3
of
different
you.
opinions. That's what I'm saying. We can't get a majority.
Rank vote. Rank vote. Add it up.
This is
bam,
America.
done.
We don't do that.
This is not America. This is Bangkok. And that's part of the reason why you guys are in the trouble you're in. Bam. All
This
right.
is true. This is true. We did not come to local customs.
I feel like we barely made any progress on both these stories, and that sucks. I feel bad about that, but I guess that's what happens when you split.
I'm
It happens
having
when you split.
so much fun.
I'm having fun, don't get me
That
wrong. I'm just
makes
like-
any difference.
I'm having fun. Stuff has happened. It's really interesting, but I feel kind of guilty that we haven't like progressed it a little bit further. But such is what happens when we have such
Jeff,
big
you can
massive
just
splits.
do what I always do, and that's just blame Ashley and say it's all her fault.
I think Ashley was the one wasn't Ashley like, hey, let's shoot him.
She was.
Wasn't that?
She
Yeah.
was firmly committed to a plan of action.
I mean, there's definitely sanity loss for like cold-blooded murder, but at the very least, you get stuff done. At the very least. All right.
And
Let's go.
I do think our story has progressed. Like, maybe it doesn't feel that way to you because you're running off of your notes or whatever. But like from my perspective, I feel like we are significantly further than the start of the session.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I'm not in a warehouse anymore.
Are you sure?
that could have been true last
Matrix.
session.
He didn't even cast a spell. You've been in the warehouse the whole time. Campaign ends. Will's just like hanging upside down. Someone takes him down, brings him to a room, puts up 4 lights, turns one off. Never mind. All right, let's go ahead. And let's get some plugs in. So, Steven, I have right here your game that we're going to talk about in a minute. Because first, we're going to go to Maitre. So, Maitre, tell us about what you do on the internet.
I am Multiplace on YouTube, where I make system agnostic or multi-system tabletop content that centers the GM and player experience that you should check out if you feel like checking that kind of thing out.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. Links, obviously, in the chat. Links are in the show notes and descriptions and stuff, wherever it is you're watching this later or listening to this later. All right, Steven, tell us a little bit about what you got cooking.
How about you tell us what I've got cooking, because you're a big part of it. We got something new.
Why do I gotta do everything? Why do I gotta do everything?
Because you're better at everything.
What? It's not true.
I have a game that just came out called Huckleberry that Jeff has been hard at work on, and we've got another scenario coming out for it soon, written by our boy Jeff Baker here. It's quite fascinating. We've got art coming in for it, and it's going to lay out. It'll be out likely late December, early January. So that's something to keep tabs on. If you want to check out more about the game, it's a Weird West action horror game. Go to huckleberryrpg.com. Super excited about it. We got a lot more coming other than scenarios. We've got updates to the core book in the works as well. So lots of fun stuff. And join us for the ride.
Fantastic. Also, Aaron, I believe, is going to be running some next week, right? Over on Garblag.
Wednesday, Garblag Games. You see, that's why I need you to do it, because you're better at everything. Wednesday, Garblag Games. Aaron will be running through another scenario that'll be coming out soon, because there's a shit ton in the works for Huck.
There are indeed. All right. So after that, what else we got? Next up, Monday, I think it is Monday. We got Otherscape. You can see a group of people here playing in some Mythos Cyberpunk, emphasis on the Mythos on Monday, as we are in sunken California. We are dealing with some weird cultist people, and Jeremy made a friend, a cute little Yoda woman. It's really fantastic.
He did.
So coming out with us, and then on Tuesday you can see Melissa, myself, Aaron, Kipser, Derek, as we are all crew members of the Starship Intrepid, and Steven is our captain, and he's leading us through whatever century we're in. 24th century.
I am the captain. That's weird.
You are. You play Shelby. Yeah. So yeah, we killed some people. We blew up a ship or two last time around as we tested out some Starship combat. And boy, we were pretty good at it. Who'd have thought?
Yeah. I didn't get past your shields.
Yeah. Then Thursday, very excited for this. We're starting up a new game. We're doing our session 0. So if you're a fan of like session 0 stuff, looking at character creation, world building, group creation, that kind of stuff, that's what we're going to be doing on Thursday as we're diving into Swords of the Serpentine. It is a Gumshoe system, Pelgrane Press. Very excited. First time running or playing Gumshoe. So we're going to make our characters in our sword and sorcery, kind of like Renaissance Venice-ish kind of setting. And you can see the usual Thursday crew with that. And then Friday next week, I think the same crew here, we are finishing up at long last. After 47 years, we are finally finishing up Campaign 2 of Delta Green. As I believe that'll be the finale. Though, I don't know. Steven says I have like other ones I'm supposed to run. So who knows? Maybe we don't finish. I probably should stop promising finishes. I feel like I'm like lying when I say stuff like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to finish. We're definitely going to finish that Otherscape.
We derail.
Arc on Yeah, we're definitely
just believe in
maybe the
us a little
intention.
much.
It's a genuine intention.
It's aspirational.
It's like a
That's what it
classic
is.
rock band where it's always the final tour.
I think you're just very generous
for sure.
in your estimation of us. I think is what it is.
Arizona Bay, the AB. I always feel like this like intense pressure for pacing, like just moving along, and I should stop because I think I'm the only one who feels that. So I should stop. I should stop doing that. Got him. All right. We are going to go ahead and raid our friends over at Tales of Myth and Mayhem. They are playing some Vampire the Masquerade. So follow that raid. Have a great issue night. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching this later. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
I'll be seeing you.